Okay, so this is the video about double thumping. Let's back up for a second and just talk about funk music in general. Funk music to me is a bass line that repeats and repeats over and over and over again. It's supposed to provide a foundation for the band and is supposed to make the music feel good. What do I mean by make music feel good in quotes like that? Well, everybody comes to music with a feeling, right? Everybody comes to their instrument wanting to be able to express their own voice, but it's being able to execute the little nuances in each style of music that makes that takes a lifetime really of practicing, and something that I'm still doing every day. So let's kind of, I mean, in this case in funk music, it's the subdivision and the placements of 16th notes. So that's exactly what we're going to start doing on our bass. So if you're not used to slapping in general, I mean, I'm thinking of it like hitting a hot stove, right? So it's not this, right? It's like hitting a hot stove almost. You're just kind of bouncing off the string. So hit the string, and then I'm gonna come back up. My nail is almost under the string, and I'm gonna come through the string. And notice how my forearm is flat, and it's all on my wrist, right? So we're gonna try doing this just in 16th notes. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Now, if you're still having trouble getting a clean sound like that, two things. Number one, my thumb is very relaxed. It's not tense, right? I mean, for the notes to come out evenly, every time I come up and back down, my hand has to be very relaxed. That's just the way that I found for the notes to come out as evenly as possible. And the other thing too is this hand has to be doing work too. This hand is keeping, I'm on the 7th fret by the way on the A string on my E. This hand is keeping the rest of the strings muted, so I don't get all this other, I don't get a bunch of open string noise, right? Every time I come up, I'm not hitting this low E or the D. I mean, it's keeping the bass centered on hitting this note, right? So let's do that one more time. So we've got 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Now you want to be able to do that all over your bass. You want to be able to do it on every string. 1 E and 2 E, and so on. So and eventually you can kind of get a faster 16th note groove happening. Once you get that down, one exercise I always like to give is just hitting the downbeats. So let's do it, and the rest of the beats are gonna be muted. So we got 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and so that kind of gives you a little more variations on how the groove is coming across by being able to mute certain notes. So let's kind of build off of that. So check this out. So we're gonna go 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1. So I'm taking 7th fret on the G string, and then going to my low octave, 5th fret on the A string, and going up in half steps to get back to E. So let's do that one more time. So we've got 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and So that's a groove. You definitely practice with the metronome just so you can kind of feel how those 16th notes are falling in with each downbeat. So that's definitely something to practice. And I'm thinking about using a pick. I'm thinking about, a bass player using a pick. And that's how I'm thinking about using my thumb, just like a bass pick, right? And I always have that down, up motion happening. And by the way, when I get to this D right here, I'm popping, slapping, popping, slapping, popping, slapping. So my index finger comes up and makes a hook under the string, right? So that's something to think about, and let's build off of that even more. So this is the only other displacement you really have to think about. Now, in the beginning of the measure, let's add some other notes, but you're still going to have that tekka, 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 tekka. So instead of staying on the E, we're just going to change the notes around a little bit. So we're going to, before we even worry about thumping it, I like to always just learn the notes first and then come back and worry about my thumb. Because sometimes it can just be too much to process all at once, and I like to break things down. So we're going to start on A, 7th fret on the D string. So this is the exercise in the beginning of the video. So we got G, 5th fret, 6th fret, E. So we got so I'm hitting the 4th and then surrounding to get to the 3rd, right? Root, C sharp, D, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. Let's add the thumb. Just same motion. Down, down, up, down, up, down, up. So that's just something to think about, and hopefully this helps. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment, and I'll definitely get back to you. All right, thanks.